why? Why do I do this? Why do I have to climb rocks?
If you have invested any considerable time and energy into climbing, you have probably asked yourself this question. Because, let's face it, climbing is quite an uncomfortable and demanding sport. You have to hike up and down mountains just to get to the wall, you can get very hot sometimes, you can get very cold sometimes. You can get scared when you're facing a big fall, you can get frustrated when you feel weak or when an unnecessary mistake costs you the route. And when you finally do succeed, nothing happens. Nothing really changes. Climbing doesn't produce anything, it doesn't make you any money, it doesn't really seem to accomplish anything. So why do we still do it? And why do people like me quit their jobs to live in a van and climb full time for months on end? Settle in for this slightly philosophical episode coming to you from around El Chorro, where I try to find some answers.
So why even think about it? Well, you see, I have been doing an excessive amount of climbing over the past years, and when you do something this intensely, the question of why will inevitably creep into your mind. Probably at times when you hit the low and it's just no fun. In those moments, it really helps me to have my reasons ready for myself in order to be able to push through those lows and find the motivation to keep going. I will split my answer into 3 chapters. And the first one doesn't even have to do anything with the actual climbing. It can be summarized as the lifestyle. Climbing makes me go out into the nature, even at times when I feel a bit lazy. And as with many things, once I get off my butt, I just feel way better. It also leads me to places that I would otherwise never see. A lot of walls and even whole climbing areas are far off the beaten tourist path. So the whole experience still feels very authentic, and for me, this brings a sense of exploration and adventure. Dangling from your fingertips on a wall far above the ground is simply an epic feeling, which not that many people get to experience in their lives. Obviously, the more remote a place is, the harder it is to get to. So the easiest way to climb a lot is probably to live in a van. It's incredibly flexible because you can often sleep as close as possible to the wall, like we do here in the south of Spain. And you can also spontaneously decide to move to a different area when the weather turns bad. Personally, I really like the simplicity of van life as well. And if you want to see what that looks like, I have made a separate video about it a few weeks ago, which I will link in the description. The second reason why I climb is because it is addicting in multiple ways. There is the feeling of power I get when I can do technically or physically hard moves. There is the sense of control that comes from climbing far above a bolt while my subconscious is protesting an alarm. And there is the adrenaline rush when I take a big fall. There is that flow state I get into sometimes when a route feels like an effortless dance and every move seems to magically fall into place. And the unbeatable sense of achievement when I complete a project I have been working on for a very long time. And last but not least, of course, physical exercise is scientifically proven to release endorphins, which, quite simply, makes you happy. I think that once you get hooked on all those feelings, your mind wants to experience them again and again and again, and you will go to great lengths to satisfy that addiction. By the way, the route I am climbing here is called Sandokan, and it's located in Displomalandia near El Chorro. It is one of the best 7 seas I have ever climbed because it is a perfect example for exactly that dance-like flow I was talking about. As I mentioned in the beginning, climbing is an uncomfortable and demanding sport, especially at a higher level. For me though, that is exactly why I like it so much. You see, I get bored pretty quickly. When something is too predictable, too easy or too repetitive, I will just lose interest. I believe that the key to happiness in life is not to have no problems, but to constantly be able to solve problems. And that is exactly why climbing makes me happy. It is extremely challenging on a physical, technical and mental level. And when I am climbing at my limit, I need to tackle all of those aspects simultaneously. In this instance here, I am on the second go of this admittedly rather soft A-Day. And I am trying to stay calm, remember all the moves and climb as efficiently as possible with good technique. Because otherwise I won't have the strength to execute the hard crux moves at the very top. So that is a lot to think about all at once, and since this requires my undivided attention and complete focus, it also works as a type of meditation in a world where we are otherwise constantly bombarded with distractions. Sure, I will look at my phone a couple of times during the day, but mostly it stays in my backpack, and I am focused on what I am doing at that very moment and on the people around me. And how often does that really happen anymore in this time and age?
So there you go. That's why I climb. If you are a climber yourself, what are your reasons? Let me know down below in the comments if you want to, and otherwise, thanks for watching and see you next time.